the 2000 NFL Draft, Tom Brady was selected 199th overall. The Cleveland Browns held the first overall pick. So who did they select? They went with what seemed like the perfect pick, a big and fast edge rusher who was a first-team All-American. Unfortunately, injuries derailed Brown's career. After 4 years in Cleveland, he spent the final year of his NFL career in Denver. He only had 19 career sacks. The 2001 NFL Draft saw a handful of future Hall of Famers, including Drew Brees, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Richard Seymour. But quarterback Michael Vick out of Virginia Tech went first overall. After only starting 2 games in his rookie season, he broke out in his second year. He was named to his first Pro Bowl and led the Falcons to a huge road upset in the playoffs versus Brett Favre and the Packers. After being suspended for the 2007 and 2008 season, he signed with the Eagles in 2009 to back up Donovan McNabb. In 2010, after McNabb was traded, quarterback Kevin Kolb was named the starter. He went down with a concussion in September, and Vick got the opportunity to start. Vick looked like the QB we saw before the suspension again. He tore it up that season, making his 4th Pro Bowl and winning Comeback Player of the Year. Vick even got a few first-place MVP votes for his performance that season. To this day, he's the all-time leading rusher among quarterbacks. In 2002, the newest NFL expansion franchise, the Houston Texans, selected David Carr first overall with their first ever draft pick. Carr was sacked 76 times in his first NFL season, which still stands as the record for the most times sacked in a single season. He started 5 total seasons with the Texans, leading them to a 22-53 record, while throwing more interceptions than touchdowns with a ratio of 59 touchdowns to 65 interceptions. After starting 4 games for the Panthers in his 6th NFL season, he spent the rest of his career as a backup on the Giants and 49ers. A Heisman winner out of USC, quarterback Carson Palmer was selected first overall in 2003 by the Bengals. Palmer did not play at all his rookie season, he just sat on the bench and learned. But in his 2nd season as an NFL starter, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the game. He threw a league-leading 32 touchdowns while also leading the NFL in completion percentage. During that 2005 season, he also led the Bengals to their first winning season since 1990. On the Bengals' first pass play of their first playoff game, Palmer got hit after releasing the ball. This resulted in a serious injury, torn ligaments in his knee, and a dislocated patella. In 2011, after disputes with the Bengals owner, Adam Schefter reported that Carson Palmer was willing to retire instead of playing for Cincinnati again. After not reporting to the team during training camp, Palmer was traded to the Raiders in October of 2011. The Raiders traded a 1st and 2nd round pick for Palmer, which looking back on this trade today makes it look like a really bad trade for the Raiders. After an underwhelming 2 seasons with the Raiders, Palmer was traded to the Cardinals for a 6th round and conditional pick. He revived his career in Arizona, having arguably his best season there, throwing over 4,600 yards and 35 touchdowns. He led Arizona all the way to the NFC Championship game that season, but they fell to the Carolina Panthers. A draft day trade for the number 1 overall pick went down in 2004. Eli Manning was technically drafted by the Chargers. Leading up to draft day, Eli and his father, former NFL quarterback Archie Manning, said Eli would not play for them if drafted there. Before the draft, Archie Manning called former Chargers quarterback Ryan Leaf's dad to ask how the Chargers treated his son. Archie was told by Ryan's father that the team did not help Ryan with any of his problems, which became part of the reason why the Mannings decided not to have Eli play for San Diego. He might not have been the best regular season player, but something happened with Eli Manning during big moments in the playoffs. He delivered time and time again during his career and led the Giants to 2 Super Bowls. He's number 10 in all-time NFL history for passing yards and touchdowns thrown. The 49ers selected Alex Smith first overall in 2005. After struggling his first 6 seasons in the league, due mostly to a coaching carousel in the Bay Area, Alex Smith finally found success in 2011 when Jim Harbaugh was hired as head coach. The 49ers went on to finish the season with 13 wins, their most since 1997. Alex Smith made his first playoff appearance and took the 49ers all the way to the NFC Championship game, where they lost in overtime versus the soon-to-be Super Bowl champion New York Giants. After a concussion early in the 2012 season, Colin Kaepernick stepped in to start, and Smith was never given his job back. In 2013, the Chiefs traded a 2nd round and conditional pick to acquire Alex Smith from the 49ers. Smith thrived under Andy Reid in Kansas City and made his first Pro Bowl in his very first season there. He went on to make another 2 Pro Bowls after that while playing for the Chiefs. Drafting the wrong player first overall is terrible for a franchise, but do you want to know what else is terrible? finding out people are selling your personal information. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura. Anyone can find anything on the internet, including your full legal name, your home address, phone number, even relative. The information is accessible because of data brokers who profit selling your information to telemarketers, robocallers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to learn more about you. Aura will identify data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Since I have created an Aura account, they have found over 50 data brokers with my information. 50! 50. You can use my link aura.com/SheGotSports to try it out for 2 weeks and see how many data brokers are sharing your information. Also, this link is in my description. Aura's app also features a VPN, password manager, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and protects your devices from malware. Aura has almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need, all inside one app. Go to aura.com/SheGotSports to start your free trial. It's also linked in the description below. In 2006, the Texans were expected to take Reggie Bush first overall. Instead, they went with the player that broke the NC State sack record in just 3 seasons. Defensive end Mario Williams. Drafting him over Reggie Bush turned out to be the right move. He had 30.5 sacks in his first 3 seasons in the league. In 2014 with Buffalo, he was named a first-team All-Pro and finished his career with 4 Pro Bowls. The 2007 draft saw one of the biggest NFL busts in history. JaMarcus Russell. Russell was drafted first overall by the Raiders.
Now you could be looking at a guy who's certainly one of the elite top 5 quarterbacks in this league.
The LSU quarterback was the type of quarterback you would build in Madden. He was 6'6", 260 with a cannon of an arm. Things got off to a rocky start for Russell before he even stepped on an NFL field. He held out for a larger contract, missing all of training camp, and didn't sign his rookie deal until week 2 of the regular season. Russell was said to have poor work ethic. Because of this, the coaches set him up for a test. They sent him home with some plays on film. When he came back the next day, they asked him, hey, which plays did you like? Which plays do you want to run? He was like, yeah, I like all of them. I can do any of them. They're like, any specifically? He was like, yeah, any of them. But the thing was, they were blank tapes. There was no film on those tapes. In 2010, he showed up to Raiders minicamp close to 300 pounds. The Raiders released him a few weeks later. Russell only lasted 3 seasons in the league with a record of 7-18. He threw 18 touchdowns and 23 interceptions during that span. After he was released from the Raiders, he wrote to NFL teams saying he would play for free. Not one NFL team took him up on that offer. While Russell only lasted 3 seasons in the league, with their first overall pick in 2008, the Dolphins selected a player that would make the Pro Bowl in each of their first 4 seasons. Tackle Jake Long. He started every game his first 3 seasons in the league. Unfortunately, injuries began to take a toll on his career after his impressive 4-season Pro Bowl run, ultimately forcing him to retire in 2016. Yet another quarterback was selected first overall in 2009 with the Lions selecting Matthew Stafford. Stafford immediately started his rookie season and started to find real success by his 3rd year. In his 3rd year, he became the 4th quarterback in NFL history to throw for 5,000 yards in a single season. Although he had statistical success, the Lions never won a playoff game during Stafford's career in Detroit. In 2014, he made his first and only Pro Bowl, and less than a year after being traded to the Rams in 2021, he won his first Super Bowl. But before the Rams won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford under center, they held the first overall pick in 2010 and selected quarterback Sam Bradford. During his rookie season, Bradford started all 16 games for the Rams and completed 60% of his passes for 3,512 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. He was named the NFL's Offensive Rookie of the Year. Injuries plagued Bradford throughout his career, limiting him to 49 starts in 5 seasons with the Rams, all of 2014 after tearing his ACL in a preseason game. In 2015, Bradford was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for Nick Foles and draft picks. He started 14 games for the Eagles that season, completing 65% of his passes for 3,725 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. After 1 season with the Eagles, Philly traded up to secure the number 2 spot in the 2016 draft. Many believing this move was made so they could draft a new quarterback, which ended up being true. They did select Carson Wentz with this pick. In September of 2016, Bradford was traded to the Vikings for a 1st-round pick and a conditional 4th-round pick. He started 15 games for the Vikings in 2016, completing a career-high 71.6% of his passes for 3,877 yards, 20 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. After being released by the Vikings in 2018, he signed a $20 million deal with the Cardinals, but he was unable to find much success there. He only started 3 games and was released around mid-season. Cam Newton burst onto the NFL scene after being selected first overall by the Panthers in 2011. He won Rookie of the Year and went to 3 Pro Bowls in his first 5 NFL seasons. He also led Carolina to 4 playoff runs, including 1 Super Bowl appearance, and took home regular season MVP too. When Newton turned 29, his physical style of play caught up to him. Injuries started to pile up, and he never started a full 16 games again. In 2020, the Panthers released him and he signed with the Patriots. But after being released by the Patriots, he signed back with the Panthers in 2021, but hasn't played since then. Touted as possibly the next Peyton Manning during the pre-draft process, the Indianapolis Colts selected Andrew Luck first overall, just after cutting the actual Peyton Manning. Luck led the Colts to an 11-5 record his first 3 seasons in the league, getting a Pro Bowl nod in each one of those 2. Injuries started to affect Luck in 2015. He missed all of the 2017 season due to injury, and after making the Pro Bowl in 2018, he retired at just 29 years old due to injury concerns. The 2013 draft class has turned out to be one of the worst all time. At the number 1 overall pick, the Chiefs selected tackle Eric Fisher. He struggled his rookie season, but as he gained experience, things started to click. He made the Pro Bowl in 2018 and 2020. Unfortunately, during the Chiefs' 2021 playoff run, Fisher tore his Achilles and was later released. He played only 1 year with the Colts, but hasn't played since then. He is currently a member of the Miami Dolphins. The 2014 NFL draft class was stacked. First overall, the Houston Texans selected Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney has had a decent NFL career. He made 3 Pro Bowls with Houston, but has never had a season with double-digit sacks. The pick doesn't look fantastic when the Texans passed on players like Aaron Donald, Mike Evans, and Khalil Mack. 2 quarterbacks were selected in the first 2 picks of the 2015 draft. Jameis Winston was selected first by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Winston's career got off to a hot start, making the Pro Bowl his first season in the league, but he hasn't made one since then. Winston's had no problem airing the ball out, having multiple seasons with over 4,000 passing yards, even one where he broke the 5,000-yard mark, but his interception problem has held him back from being a great quarterback. In 2019, he threw a league-leading 30 interceptions. In his 3 seasons with the Saints, he's only started a total of 10 games. 1 year later, quarterbacks were off the board at number 1 and number 2 again. The Rams selected Jared Goff first overall. After losing every game he started his rookie season, he made his first Pro Bowl during his sophomore season, leading the Rams to an 11-5 record. The year after, he made another Pro Bowl while the Rams went 13-3. They made it to the Super Bowl that year, but lost to Tom Brady and the Patriots. The offense never returned to what it was during that Super Bowl season, with Goff's numbers declining as well. Before the 2021 season, he was traded to the Lions for Matthew Stafford. In 2017, Patrick Mahomes was selected 10th overall. But with the first overall pick, the Cleveland Browns selected Myles Garrett. Garrett's career got off to a fast start, recording 7 sacks in his rookie season. After his rookie season, he has recorded 10 or more sacks in every single season. He is a 2-time All-Pro player, a 4-time Pro Bowler, who is currently considered one of the best defenders in the league. During the 2018 pre-draft process, it looked like Sam Darnold could go number 1 overall to the Browns. But the day of the draft, a surprising report came out that said the Browns planned on taking quarterback Baker Mayfield number 1 overall. In 2018, he broke the rookie passing touchdown record in just 13 games started. In his 3rd season, he led the Browns to the playoffs, where they lost in the divisional round versus the Chiefs. Since then, his career has fallen off a bit as he's dealt with injuries and been on multiple teams since then. 2019 made it back-to-back years that an Oklahoma quarterback was selected first overall, with Kyler Murray being drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. He won Rookie of the Year, then went on to make 2 consecutive Pro Bowls. But last year was a down year for Murray, who held a record of 3-8 before suffering a season-ending ACL tear. After winning the Heisman and National Football Championship, Joe Burrow was selected first overall by the Bengals in 2020. After showing some flashes during his first few games, Burrow tore his ACL and was sidelined for the rest of his rookie season. He bounced back in a big way after the injury though, leading the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl. In both seasons since the ACL tear, Burrow has made it to the AFC Championship game. In 2021, the Jaguars selected Trevor Lawrence, one of the most highly touted prospects since Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. Lawrence had an extremely disappointing rookie season, leading the NFL in interceptions along with Matthew Stafford. There was questions about Lawrence actually being the best QB in the draft class after his disaster of a rookie season. But once a real head coach actually took over in Doug Peterson, Lawrence broke out, making the Pro Bowl and leading the Jaguars to the 3rd biggest playoff comeback in NFL history. And most recently in 2022, the Jaguars selected Trayvon Walker number 1 overall. Obviously, he's only played just 1 year in the league, so there's not much we can say about him, But it was a pretty controversial pick, with many people thinking Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau will go number 1 overall. In the comments down below, let me know who you think is the best number 1 overall pick on this list. I gotta say it's Eli Manning.